Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to be here today. Would you agree? Yes. Well, I just want to begin by saying thank all of you for coming this morning. I'm pretty sure most of you know me by now, but if you don't, my name is Steve Watkin, and I am the interim associate vice chancellor of enrollment services here at the Kern Community College District. And I cannot let Bakersfield College sort of like be in the rear, but I am also part of the Bakersfield College community as well. Thank you so much for joining our celebration of Black History Month. Thank you so much for being here today. I feel so blessed to experience everyone's fellowship here today. After the last 2 years of a pandemic, what a ride. And I think the last time we met has been over 2 years ago, where we hosted some black pastors at Bakersfield College. And I'm so happy that you're able to come this morning. Well, 8 years ago, I remember getting a call from uh, Dr. Zab Dadaboy to come and join the Bakersfield College community. And I remember the former president of Bakersfield College, who is now the chancellor of the Kern Community College District, Dr. Sonya Christian. And Zav and I were talking about building a plane, developing an outreach program at the college. And I remember him saying, Steve, we're going to build the plane and we're going to fly it at the same time. I kid you not. It took me probably 3 months to figure out what I was going to do. I never told him that, but after about 3 months, I figured, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. And so the journey began. Then we threw on dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment in early college. So I want to just say thank you, Zav, who was the vice president of student affairs then, but who is now the president of Bakersfield College. So thank you, Zav. Well, my new boss, my current boss, not a new boss, but she's always been my boss. She's given me another challenge. It's called adult learners. And so, for those of you who are sitting here this morning, we want to provide opportunities for adults who want to continue their education with certificated programs. So I don't have 3 months to figure it out. I have about 3 days. So I'm going to need your help. And so even after today, I'm already working with CapK, and there's some other organizations I'll be reaching out to. So keep your ears open. We're going to try to do our best to connect you. Well, I want to just close my remarks by recognizing a few people who are here. We always love the pastors, and we would like for all of our pastors, if you would just please stand, and so you can be recognized today. Thank you. If you know anything about the Black community, the church is the solid base of our community. And so, pastors, I know you have been challenged as well this last 2 years, but thank you for being here this morning. I'd like to recognize Norma Rojas, who is the Director of Communications and Community Relations. Raise your hand. And Norma and I, we were talking about this event, and we have worked together, and I just want to say thank you, Norma. And Stephanie Vega, who is somewhere working here. Stephanie, thank you so much for helping today as well. And Earl Pearson, my goodness, you're everywhere. Earl, thank you. Appreciate you. And Cecilia Gabaldon, she's outside somewhere helping everyone. So I want to thank you as well. And Mr. Dinweed Food Service, how did you enjoy that chicken and waffles, huh? Thank you so much for providing the food this morning. I have a colleague I would like to just introduce. Her name is Trudy Gerald, and she's the Associate Vice Chancellor of Economic and Workforce Development. And we are colleagues here at the district, and I want her to come and just maybe say a few words to you this morning. Thank you, Trudy.
Good morning, everybody. I'll go to the microphone, but you see, I don't need it. It's very nice to see everybody here. This has been my first official Black History event here, so it's very nice for me to see. I've been here about 3 years in Bakersfield, and I've begun to know people more and more, and I'm looking forward to getting to know more of you all. I'm very happy to see you here. We've got a nice program, easy, little information, a little entertainment, and we're just very happy to have you here this morning, and thank you all for coming. I don't see Steve moving, so I'm thinking he thinks I'm supposed to do something else. Did you want me to? Okay. I can talk then.
So at this time, I want to just thank our mayor for being here today, Mayor Kern, and she is one who is always there supporting almost any event in our community. And so, Mayor, please come and have a few words. Thank you.
Good morning. So good to see all of you. Happy conclusion of Black History Month. It's been a joy to celebrate. I've seen so many of you all over the community at the Black History Parade. Then yesterday, I saw several of you at Greater Harvest worshiping. That was wonderful. Yeah, wonderful time together. But what a rich heritage we have in our community of Black culture. And it's been my honor to see the support of our Chancellor making sure that there is an uncommon commitment. Chancellor, do you remember in 2017 at a leadership breakfast, you talked about the uncommon commitment for BC to make sure that African American students would succeed. And that has been the intentionality of Bakersfield College, and I'm sure now with Kern Community College District, being able to see student success. Adela, thank you so much for your leadership. Dr. Parks, thank you also. And we've seen now with the Umoja A-Step program, your success. Recently, you mentioned 4 times the outcome of students who have participated in your program. I know this was pre-pandemic. Did we just go up?
Okay.
There we go. So with the Umoja program, those students who participated really had 4 times the outcome of those who didn't. And then I know with your mentoring program, I don't even know how you say it. It looks like A2 or A squared. Just the success and the male mentoring program, your investment, it's all been with great intentionality. Thank you to great leaders. I know you were just recognized by the Black Chamber with their award, and then a couple of days later at CSUB Outstanding Alumni. So thank you to all of you for that success. Dr. Sonya Christian, I know, she gave you what, 3 weeks? 3 days? That's like 3 days. I think it should be 3 minutes. Because with her, it's always let's get it done. And that intentionality of serving our community, making sure that our African American students have the success that we want them to. And that gap is closing because of the success. And I know President Zav, President Sean, President Claudia, you're coming along because she's going to be daring to do mighty things. So in that we are BC together as our community, we're also together daring mighty things together. And that is going to happen. I am very confident. So good to see all of you pastors. Thank you for your service to our community and to all of you leaders. Thank you so much. Let's keep working together. BC, the entire Kern Community College team, let's work together and dare to do mighty things.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Well, we've got an amazing program lined up for you this morning, some good singing, some good speakers, and we just want you to relax. We didn't know how this event was going to turn out, if people were going to show or not show with the pandemic. And I know oh, it's all good. I'm not singing, I promise you. But I just want to say thank you for taking a chance. I know the pandemic has touched all of our lives. It even touched my life, and we're doing everything to keep everyone safe. But number one, we want God to keep us safe. Am I right? At the end of the day, Lieutenant Croker, raise your hand. I wanted to recognize you from the Bakersfield Police Department, and he's here. He's a community person, and I want you all to know, and there's a lot of things happening in our community, and I want you to recognize his face, and if he reaches out to you, connect with him. And I'm also happy to have my son, who is a Bakersfield Police Department detective, here today as well, Mr. Aaron Watkins as well. Well, let's go ahead and get the program started. I don't know what to say about our leader, our chancellor, who is a visionary. She sets the tone. Gives me honor and pleasure to present to you this morning our chancellor, Dr. Sonya Christian.
My heart is overflowing this morning. This is the first formal event that I'm hosting as the new chancellor of the Kern Community College District. And it is the celebration of Black History Month. I do have a few remarks on our agenda for the next 18 months. But before I get to that, I want to recognize a few people. My boss, Trustee Nan Gomez Heitzberg of the Kern Community College Board of Trustees. Nan was vice president of Bakersfield College and has been at BC for a long time. Actually, Nan played a role even at the district level, so really intimately knows Saracoso and Porterville. And equity is synonymous with the name Nan Gomez Heitzberg. So I thank you for being here, Nan. I want to recognize the three presidents. I am so fortunate to have their support, their commitment to equity. They're relentless warriors, Dr. Dadaboy, Dr. Hancock, and Dr. Habib. Please stand up and be recognized. Sean left at 5:45 this morning from Ridgecrest to get here, and Claudia left probably by 7 to get here, and Zav just got here from Seven Oaks. You know, I was talking about my heart just overflowing, and one of the individuals who just brought tears to my eyes was connecting with Dee Slade. Dee, it's wonderful to see you. And when Dee comes to an event, I say we are complete. Please stand up and be recognized. I can go around the room and comment on each and every one of you. You've been friends of education, and you've been friends to the Kern Community College District. Our program is going to start with the amazing Dr. Parks. You were someone who inspired me right as I took over as president. You have singularly been singularly focused on really getting our students to fly high and achieve heights that they didn't believe were possible. And then we're going to move into, I think, music. We've got a woman with Steve described as the voice of an angel who's going to be singing. And we have two young men whom I absolutely love. Michael Bowers, when we went for Measure J, you brought the entire community out. And most recently, you've been inspiring me when you coined the phrase, from Black history to Black future. So when you think of Michael Bowers, at this point, he is really galvanizing our community to define our future from Black history to Black future. And Traco, everyone knows you. Most recently, I was on Facebook and I was watching you leading your entire extended family in music as you were grieving the loss of your mother. And you continue to inspire the community like no one else that I know. We're going to be hearing from these two beautiful voices later on in the program. And T. Johnson, you really move an agenda. The mayor was talking about me moving an agenda. Makes me chuckle when I think of you. And we are so grateful for the work that you're doing with our entrepreneurship program. We're so grateful for you bringing the entire community together to look out for our Black small businesses and giving individuals the tools so that they can be extremely successful. We'll be ending our program with that young man with a beard over there. He's very tall. Can't see him because the pillar is hiding him from me. But I'm always proud to say that Julian West started his work with student success and equity at the Kern Community College District, at Bakersfield College. And now Julian is President Habib's Chief Diversity Officer at Porterville College. But he is going to influence the entire district in his work. And I think, Julian, you're going to be our concluding speaker for today. When I started my work, Steve talked about our focus was on closing achievement gaps. And we started by showing you data that was abysmal. And with the work of Steve, Paula, and the entire Bakersfield College family, we have made remarkable strides. And now in my role as chancellor, I'm shifting my attention, as Steve said, to the adult learner and into this space of workforce and economic development. My partner is going to be that beautiful woman, Trudy Gerald, our Associate Vice Chancellor for Workforce and Economic Development. Trudy has an ambitious agenda. The first big prize that she won in our work was competing for a big grant. And the grant was a leadership grant. It was to lead the 15 colleges in the Central Valley of California. We never had that position of leadership in the past in workforce and economic development. Trudy, and I was just announced as chancellor, and she immediately started working with me on it. We went after the grant, and because of our heart, because of our innovative spirit, and the concrete plans, we competed, and we won. And the first hire we made to lead this 15 community college leadership position was to bring on board the fabulous Dr. Jessica Grimes. Please stand up. No, really, please stand up. Yeah, please stand up and be recognized. Because the camera is going to get you for the live stream, and I wanted people to see your beautiful face. Thank you, Jessica. We can only succeed when we have individuals like Dr. Grimes and Dr. Gerald leading the work. This work has equity at the front, at the center, and everywhere. When Steve expanded the outreach program for high school students, we did not wait for 12th graders to graduate and come to the college on the hill, because we knew those who came were those who knew that the college was there, but those who did not arrive. So what did Steve do? Steve took college to them. And now every 9th grade student in a high school that feeds into our colleges has a college plan. We don't leave it to chance. We design it from the very beginning. That is equity in action. Similarly, when we are shifting our focus to the adult learner, and you look at the pictures, we have a large population that is missing from the picture. Because Kevin Costner said in Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. What we are realizing is we need to build it and we need to go find them and bring it to every individual. So similar to the MOUs that we developed with the high schools, Pastor Watkin, Associate Vice Chancellor Watkin, is now going to organizations that are close to the disadvantaged workers and creating structures, MOUs, that college is being taken to them so that they can start engaging with a job skills certificate to a certificate of achievement and then to a degree. Because we know the research shows that if you are on the trajectory with a degree under your belt, your long-term earnings are going to accelerate. Your wages are going to really be on a trajectory for growth. If not, individuals will be in a cycle of poverty, and we've got to find a path out of that poverty. So that's the mission that we are undertaking for the next 18 months. We're not building the structure and then bringing people to the table. We are bringing our communities at the front end of constructing the structures. So when you think about it, and you think about Kern County, and you think about Tulare, and you think about California, in every nook and corner of California, there is a community college or a center. If you go to Delano, Bakersfield College is right there. There's a center. When you go to Arvin, Bakersfield College is right there with a center. When you go to Bishop, Saracoso is right there with a center. When you go to Porterville and to all the corners of Porterville and Tulare County, you see Porterville College. So the way to get our communities engaged is by community colleges having this moral obligation to go deeper so that when research is happening, the research doesn't happen, and then we bring it to our disadvantaged communities. We have to have our communities at the table so that when the research agenda gets shaped, it is getting shaped at the front end by all of our communities and not some of our communities. So I feel optimistic that we are going to be successful. The reason I feel optimistic is because of each and every one of you. When we dared mighty things the last time around, we were able to accomplish it because every time we picked up the phone and we called you, you said yes. How can I help? And you helped. So when we are starting this work together in 18 months, when we come back together, we're going to be able to give you information to show you the movement that we're making. Right now, even the data for economic mobility is not available because we don't have the structures. We have data on college completion. We have data on transfer. But the economic mobility is something that we are creating the structures to be able to disaggregate the data and figure out the answer. Because our outcome is no more just focusing on that college degree. Our outcome has deepened and has shifted to looking at what comes after the degree. It is a job, and not just a job, but it is a good job. It is a high-road job. And these two phrases that I am branding is not something that we created here locally, but it has been branded in Washington, D.C. Dr. Grimes and Dr. Gerald put forward a big grant for $15 million. We dream big, okay? There are 500 grants that have gone in, and I think they're going to fund about 20 or 25, so, you know. And that grant is for the Good Jobs Challenge, and a good job means a job that pays wages, family wages, but also there are benefits. And we don't want to have some of our communities having jobs with salaries that are not predictable and don't have wages. So good jobs. Good Jobs is an email address that you can email goodjobs@kccd.edu as you in your different forums are presenting and someone has a question in your different communities. Say, just email kccd@goodjobs@kccd.edu. The state of California's workforce department has captured the same concept of workforce with equity, and they have coined the phrase high road jobs. So you can also email highroadjobs@kccd.edu. That's our work, my friends. And with each and every one partnering with us, with each other, we can continue to dare mighty things. And with this, I give you Dr. Paula Parks.
Thank you. Thank you, and good morning. Good morning. There we go. I love Black History Month. It allows me to deepen my understanding of my culture. I study, and from that understanding, I'm able to celebrate the accomplishments of my people. But it also gives me an obligation to do something different. And I appreciate Chancellor Sonya's remarks, and it sounds like she also feels that obligation. So I'm going to next. This is some of the studying I do. Next. So I'm going to coin a phrase. I'm going to kind of take that good feeling of empowerment and knowledge and obligation, and I'm going to call that Black History Month love. Okay? Say that with me. Black History Month love. And I'm going to cite a place and people and a program that needs some Black History Month love. Okay, there we go. Next. And that would be, let's start with our campuses. Next. Okay. So after George Floyd's murder, a lot of schools came up with some very progressive statements and commitments of new funding, maybe new spaces, and Bakersfield College came up with pretty much a list of what we were already doing. So it mentioned the Emoja program. It mentioned some of the work we were doing with BC Learns, with the library. It talked about a mentorship program that we were doing, as well as some work that Dr. Tommy was doing. But it didn't have new funding, new plans. It was just what we were doing. And I was really surprised to see some of the backlash about that. There were some people who questioned it. Why were we doing it? And again, there was no money attached. There was no funding. There were no timetables. It didn't say most of our students are Latinx, and so in the next how many years, most of our faculty. It didn't say anything like that. It just stated what we were doing. And the Black faculty, Emoja, Padrinos, Lupe, SGA had to do a lot of speaking out to get these passed. Next. And then we have this group here. And while their events may seem to be an intellectual exchange, do they really enhance our campus? So I would say that our campus needs some Black History Month love. Okay, next. And our Black students. Next. They did a national survey, and we looked at BC's data. And students were asked if they felt like they mattered with white professors. 74% of white students said yes, but 49% of Black students said yes. So not even half of Black students said they felt like they mattered with white professors. And then they asked, do you feel you matter with professors of color? And what was interesting is that every racial group said they felt they mattered more with professors of color. So with white students, it was 75%, and with Black students, it was 71%. And then they were asked how much they experienced concern for their feelings. And white students said 72%, Black students said 56%. And they were asked, have you been asked to represent the views of your race? And I'm guessing if you're Black, you know that feeling, right? They talk about slavery and everybody looks at you. What do you think about that? Yeah, it's still true. So white students said 3%, Black students said 22%. Have you experienced a race-based verbal attack? 7% of white students, 20% of Black students. A race-based physical attack, 2% of white students, 14% of Black students. Do you feel that BC has a commitment to hiring faculty of color? 80% of white students said yes, and 45% of Black students said yes. Is there racism in the surrounding community? Have you experienced it? 28% of white students said yes, and almost 70% of Black students said yes. And when I shared that with my students, they were like, yeah, the store, the gas station, yes. So what's bothersome is that only half of Black students feel that they matter with white professors and that they have concern for their feelings. And if you don't feel mentally and physically safe, you can't learn. So that affects student success. So I would say that our Black students need some Black History Month love. Okay, next. Of course, this has to be in the presentation, right? Right, of course, right. So I've had course data for a while, and I have been able to demonstrate for years that students in my English classes do better than Black students who are not in Umoja. And if you didn't know me, you might say, well, you're just an easy grader. You'd have to not know me, right? If you know me, then you wouldn't say that. But I haven't had longitudinal data. So I was being considered for an award, so I asked for longitudinal data. So I looked at the 2015, 2016, and 2017 cohorts. So what are their chances of graduating or transferring in 4 years? And students in the Umoja program, if I told you that they were twice as likely to graduate, then you would probably say, dang, sure wish we hadn't canceled all those Umoja classes this semester. If I had told you it was 3 times, you might say, increase her budget. What does she want? But it wasn't 3 times. It was 4 times. 4 times. Quadruple. And then if I told you that, you would say, how can we serve more students? How can we affect our Black students' success rate? What can we do? Okay, next. I'll tell you. I have a wonderful partnership with the nursing program, and students are able to get points for being involved in Emoja. And sometimes they don't know about Emoja till they're applying to the nursing program. And then they reach out to me and they say, can you write a letter that says I'm in Emoja? I said, but you weren't. But if I'd known, I would have been. So how can we serve more students? When students apply, and I don't think this is difficult, there should be, you mark race. So if you mark Black or African American, there should be a pop-up that says, hey, do you know about this program that can quadruple your chances of graduating and transfer? Or if they mark 2 or more races, is one of them Black? If so, there's this program. I don't think this is hard, and I don't think it's expensive. But Emoja has an unlimited capacity to serve students. Faculty approach me and they say, I would love to teach in your program. There's a club that all students can be part of. But students don't know. Okay, next. Another idea. The Emoja classes, some of them are under the subject, and some of them are under learning communities. And they aren't even learning communities. Do you know what a learning community is? A lot of students don't. So there should be, and all subjects have 4 letters. There should be a UMJ, so the students know where all the Emoja classes are. There's math, there's psych, there's English, there's communication, there's student development, and they could all be right there together. And I think that with all the brains and power in this room, that this could happen for fall registration. It comes down to FTES. It comes down to student success. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're all about. All right, next. So the Emoja program needs some History Month love. Yes. I indeed love Black History Month. From the one who proposed Black History Week, which I remember, Carter G. Woodson, to our current Supreme Court nominee, Kajani Brown Jackson. What I love is that when Biden said he was going to choose a Black woman, it wasn't, oh, well, it has to be her. It was like, it could be her. And she went to Harvard and Yale too, and she went to Princeton. And there were so many that it could have been. And that just fills me with pride as a Black woman. And as I become more educated about my culture and more appreciative of the contributions, I feel obligated to do more that honors my ancestors and my sheroes. Thank you.
Some Black history love is important, but I think it is also important that that love exists throughout the entire year. Dr. Paula Parks has been an absolute warrior at Bakersfield College, and you just heard today some of the items that she has been speaking out about. And it is important in this day and age for us to empower that, to help that voice reach many more people. And ultimately, it gets down to helping our students and therefore our community. I could stand over here and I could label Paula as our warrior princess, but that would be an honor for today. But she deserves a lot more than that. And one of the honors that many people did bestow on others years ago, and it's an old tradition. It's a tradition that symbolizes trust, it symbolizes respect, and it symbolizes worthiness to have a key to the city so that you could come and go wherever, whenever you wanted. The Umoja program started about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I believe, and I do want to honor Odella Johnson because Odella and Paula brought the idea to Sonya many years ago. And Paula has been fantastic in growing that program and making it work. But one item that Paula has been asking about for years, and we were never able to really make that work, is she wanted a room, an area, a space dedicated as a village to the Umoja program where students could really live, learn, study, and grow together in a community spirit. I don't have a key to a city, but I have a key to a village.
Thank you.
I don't get emotional very often, but that touched me, Zal. Thank you so much, Dr. Parks. You know, and you and I will communicate, and I support you 100%. Let's give it up for Dr. Parks. Well, we're kind of on a time frame, and so I want to make sure I get you out of here as soon as possible. We're not in church this morning, Pastor Oscar back there. But I just wanted to just say this is the flow for the remaining portion of our program. We're going to have a wonderful selection by Selena Higgins Holmes, who's going to bless our souls. And then my good friend, a powerhouse in this community, T. Johnson, is coming. I just love this lady so much. And it's just an honor to be part of her community. And we're going to have a musical selection, and I don't know who's coming, but I just hear it's going to be a blast. So I think so, right? And then we're going to close with my good friend, Dr. Julian West. Let me see where that brother is. All right. I hired this young man probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago at Bakersfield College. Now this young man is just doing wonderful things, just wonderful. And he will be the last speaker for today. And so I'm going to just, you won't see my face or hear my voice until the very end. So Selena, there you are. Bless our souls.
I tell you, Steve, I'm coming to talk to you. Simply because, do I got this right? You're trying to influence people to come back to school and older. Am I right? Did I get it right? I'm gonna say something real quick, then I'm gonna sing my song. I'm coming to talk to you. I was a part of the problem for 20 years. And you're gonna have to think about the ones that got prison records and all that. My family retired all of them from the telephone company. My sister Rose, the first Black manager. I'm the baby. I'm 64 this year. I went left. But when I cleaned up, I thought I went back to God. Irma Carson, she told me, she invited me to sing for Martin Luther King's, the daughter when she came to sing the sermonic solo. And she said, after I did it, she said, I ain't paying you no more. I want you to go to Cal State, because I like to talk, and get the drug and alcohol. I'm serious, for real, this is important. The drug and alcohol certification. I'm going to give you a job. She kept her word. From there, they wanted me to be a famous singer. I would have took it if it would have happened like that. I went to Fresno. I became a phlebotomist. It got good to me. I got an associate's degree as a medical assistant. Today, I'm a licensed phlebotomist with a 20-year prison record. And I'm going to tell you, you got to go back to God, but you also need people like all y'all. I'm coming to talk to you. I'm going to help you. Because there's people like me who want to come back to school. Change me, oh God. Make me more like you. Gotta change our mind. Change me, oh God. Wash me through and through. Create in me a clean heart, so that I can worship you. I had to go to God and I had to get him. Change me, oh God. Make me more like you. Change me. Please change me. Oh God. Thank you, Jesus. Wash me through. Create in me starts with our spirit and soul. Clean heart. So that I can't help it. I ain't got him. So that I can worship you from the White House to the church, to the school, to the parents. We need to change. Black History Love. We need to change. Help us to love like you want us to love. Create in me a clean heart and renew the right spirit in me. Don't we need God? Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable. I know we ain't at a church program, but I'm telling you, I really did help you. Oh, from the police department, the fire department, the administration, the education, to the church, to the parents, to the father. Oh, yes. When God changed the way I thought I could do something different, it couldn't have been. When he started changing my mind, a renewed mind. Oh, so glad we got a God that will change. All we have to do is ask him. All we have to do is ask him, and it's individual. You don't have to be in the group. Oh, Lord. Get down on your knees and roll in your prayer closet. You can pass over the laws that you want to. to try. Oh, yes, sir. But you need that relation with God to change your mind. Some people need attention. Some people do it for money. Who's willing to do it for change? Amen. A wonderful change. He can make this when the world is in a bad condition. See, I have a problem with people being fake. Most people think she talks too much. Don't shut up or lie. I'm going to tell the truth. A wonderful change. 3 days fasting me. Oh, we have to say, Father, change. Change. Do you believe it? It's going to take God, y'all, change. Oh, yeah. He did it for me. They counted me out, man, ago, but guess what? Folks prayed for me. Oh, I believe the whole city. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, I am. I'm so glad. Oh, you know, I'm in between today. In 2020, you need God. Bill Lilly was saying 5 to 2 sisters. We was burying one at this time of morning. Only to find out 2 hours later the other one was dead. Thank God to walk through this time, this COVID. Mad at the police, they killing folks, black folks, and on top of that, we killing each other. We killing each other. It's gonna take God, y'all. Yeah. We gotta go to God and ask him what's the plan. It ain't gonna be the next law passed. It's gonna take him. I'm yet to see CNN say, hey, y'all, we done thought of everything we could think of. Can we have a prayer? Because under that Liberty Bill, they bring Buddha and they bring Krishna and they bring whatever, and that's okay. I've been wanting to go in the land on one time, you know, they told me, you can come, but you can't say Jesus. I'm going to leave y'all alone, I know. I'm serious. I just get full and anointed when I get to talking about God. The devil trying to destroy all y'all. Your legacy, you ain't tell. I ain't seen that you all had a funeral yet. Come on, Pastor Steve. The mortgage company, the jewelry store, or nobody. You leaving it behind, so pass your legacy. And be willing to die for it, like our boy, Martin. I'm going to ask y'all, what you believe in, is you willing to die for it?
Let's hear it first. Thank you.
Can I get this one? Oh, this one. Use this one. All right, all right. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? I didn't know if I should stand up and shout, or I was like she said in between. I was like, change. A change has come over. All right. For the sake of time, I'm going to try not to rush through this. Make sure this. My name is T. Johnson, and I am just going to be speaking briefly on the landscape of Black-owned businesses in Kern County. So I could talk hours and hours about this, but I won't. I will make sure that I stick to our topics, finding out where we are at, what has been happening, and where we hope to go here in Kern County. I'm going to point like this to Ernie. He's going to hit me with the Earl. Okay, Earl, my bad, Earl. So in 2018, the Small Business Administration, they defined small businesses, 99.9% of businesses in the United States is classified as small business. That's a big number. That's a huge, big number. We're looking at 100 to 1,500 employees. But for the sake of Kern County and Bakersfield, and I'm using the identifiers as our Kern Recovers and our B Cares, we identify a small business with fewer 50 employees and under 5 million in revenue. So by identifying that, over 90% of Black businesses in Kern County are small to micro businesses. Very, very few. Micro business is loosely defined as 10 or few employees, including the owner. Now, there is a historical and persistent lack of inclusion and understanding of the minority plights and viewpoints, especially with respect to decision making and accessibility. With the lack of intentionality for supporting minority entrepreneurs on how to build and scale their businesses, we struggle from the back of the pack. So even as we are in the back, we continue to struggle. So numerous of studies have shown that Kern County has a significant racial disparities correlated to age, educational attainment, business ownership, and other variables. With that being said, from the last census of 850,000 people here, we were at 5%. We are slightly above that in the Black population. We are projected to decrease down to about 4 to even maybe 3% by 2060. So the numbers, probably people here in this room right now. So that's what our numbers are looking at. Hit me. Minority businesses. Well, what's our landscape? Our businesses, we lack the fundamental business and financial tools necessary for execution and sustainability. We need those resources. We lack capital to funding opportunities. And why? We don't have those existing bank relationships. There are a lot of variables that will support why we lack access to the capital. Closing these gaps will help aid Black-owned businesses to reach their potential growth. Now, what does this mean in terms of COVID? How are we impacted basically by COVID? Well, out of many businesses that have shut down, over 41% of minority business owners shut down in April due to the impact of COVID, where 17% of their counterparts, white business owners, had shut down. That's a substantial difference. That's a significant difference. On top of that, 20%, 26% of business activities also declined as well. Hit me on the next slide. It's hard for me to, I'm gonna have to step out this way so I can see it a little bit better. Oh, grab the mic. I thought it was loud enough. So what does this actually mean? I'm trying not to block you guys. So what does this mean? So we know that the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act came in and said, hey, how can we help? What can we do? PPP came out. Raise your hand. Who received PPP of their business owner? Okay, a couple of people received PPP. Well, only 2% of Black-owned businesses received the loans. Out of $521 billion available, and 4.9 went to businesses, less than 2%. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. There were many variables. There were a lot of structural impediments that went around not having your paperwork together, not doing business as your business license, your finances, that intermingling of your personal and business. Those are the fundamental tools necessary for sustainability for a business, especially when it comes to African American businesses. The application process was also difficult. If you didn't have an existing relationship with a bank, then you were left out of the cold. I know many times I had to call Commissioner Bowers and say, hey, I need to get some people in the door, because the banks were looking out for their existing customers first. So it's very important for Black businesses to develop that trusted relationship with the bank so they become that existing customers, because there's going to be more money coming down the pipeline. Now, we look at here locally, our B Cares, who receive the B Cares. Okay, I see Sister Wolfball. She said, I got them all. So the B Cares, we had $5.93 million in grants. 938 businesses approved. We don't have the data exactly yet intentionality of how do where's that pipeline to the African American businesses? So they looked at Kern Recovers, which played a little bit different part, and B Cares did make that phone call to say, hey, how can we connect with Black organizations and groups to ensure that the money is provided? Then we have Kern Recovers, small business forgivable loan. Let me see your hand, Sister Wolfhard. Did you get that one? So we have the Kern Recovers. That was the first one that came out, and that was 30 million in loans. They approved over 1,000. Now, here's the thing about that. I went over the beneficiary, went through every single one, because I pride myself in knowing about just about every business here in Kern County. And I identified less than 20 African American businesses. A lot of reasons. Some may have applied and were denied because of paperwork. Some may have gotten the information a little bit too late. Sometimes the information is streamlined a little bit too late to reach us. It was a shotgun. It was like you're ready, said go. If you weren't ready, you didn't get it. So it's time to start getting ready. And then we have Access Capital, the Restart Loan Program, which is still available out today. And then we have the Kern County Employers Training Resource. That one's active. That was about 2 weeks now. They have 369 grants available where you can receive $2,500. So please share that. The only concern that I have with this, since I have to hear, you know what's going there, is that the service providers, there are 4 identifiable service providers for this grant. None of them have a pipeline into the Black community. So, it's important to have integrity in your funds available. You can have funds available, but if it doesn't reach the demographic in which you intend for it to reach, it doesn't work. So let's keep that in mind and making sure that we have integrity in our grants and our programs. So with that being said, I'm rushing through it. There have been some wonderful technical resources available for Black-owned businesses. Hit me. Okay, so the first one came out in the midst of COVID, which is the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce, Old Gold Ventures, who participated in that. All right, we have Executive Director Lily Parker participated in this. We had over 39 Black businesses, and they received $750 each in grants. It was a 2-week program to identify fundamental skill sets necessary for them to grow their business. We have the Minority and Female Business Development Program. We have Dr. Ken Robinson right here. His brainchild, along with myself and Morgan Clayton. It's a pilot program where 12 Black businesses completed weeks of series on leadership. They learned about entrepreneurship. They learned how to really understand the value. It's one thing of creating a business, but that retention and sustainability is very important as well. And so this was a personally funded program. He'll kill me if I say Morgan Clayton, and where $30,000 was given back into those businesses to help them start or retain some of those losses. And so we did propose this program to the B3K. A recommendation to scale out this program was approved by B3K. So we're excited about that. And we are now waiting for the approval of the city of Bakersfield so we can take this pilot program and scale it out. So anybody here in the city, we need to put a stamp on it. It's done. We got the numbers. We're just waiting on funding. Here, I want to take a little bit of time of the Launchpad. I don't know, many of you guys don't know, the Launchpad is my baby. It's here. It's here, Bakersfield College, right downstairs on the first floor. The Launchpad started pre-COVID, and COVID shut it down, and now we're back in its operation. Well, what is the Launchpad? It's your first stop. It's free. It's for anybody who's either in the incubation stage or accelerator stage, startup, entrepreneur. It is here for you. It serves as a computer lab. It offers credit and no credit courses. We are working right now through Kite to have a virtual community hub. So you'll have everything at your fingertips. So you'll have your own dashboard. You'll have a way to reach out to your mentor and ask questions. And anything that you need pertaining to entrepreneurship and business, you will get here at the Launchpad. We are so excited to also offer the Summer Innovation and Entrepreneurship Academy, which will be a hybrid academy this summer. Look at me, this summer. And we have amazing partnerships through the Chamber, Bitwise, SBDC, KEDC, Bank of America, Kite, KCSOS, and more. So I want you guys, before you leave here today, and I'm gonna go down there downstairs, I want to show you what the Launchpad is all about. It is free. I'm gonna say it with me again. That is so, we like free 99, don't we? So, and I say that is because a lot of our entrepreneurs, they don't know where to start. They feel that they have to get a membership somewhere or they have to pay additional money. No, we have resources, curriculum. Kalani Henry has been working on the curriculum for Launchpad. And if there's something that we're missing, we'll create it. Chancellor is all about filling that gap, filling that need. If there's an unmet need, Bakersfield College can fill that for you. Next, we have our CDFIs. And for those who are unfamiliar with the CDFI, a community development financial institution, their interest is in banking throughout minority communities, reviving struggling neighbors, increasing local economic activity with hopes of ultimately seeing the Black and brown entrepreneur thrive. We do not currently have a CDFI here in Kern County. We've been working for the last 6 months, Mr. Traco Matthews? 8 months. We've been working 8 months diligently getting a CDFI. It has been facilitated by Community Action Partnership. And I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, Traco, but we do have a CDE who will be leading in this, and it's Valley Strong Credit Union. So we will have one here in-house. Yes, that's huge. Myself and Angel Patral and Traco, we had chartered a resolution as well as a diversity, equity, and inclusion resolution chartered for this. It's so important that when we start an organization that we put, and I think Chancellor said that at the top, we put that DEI component at the top. If that's what their intentions are, it needs to be at the top of all of our strategic planning. And then we also have 3 Capital with Ali Morris and Whitney Morris. So what's next? We're going to say this word all year around, intentionality. Intentionality in closing the racial gaps for Black-owned businesses. So I'm going to challenge everyone in this room to have the intervention of forward thinking. From this point on, forward thinking. That means every step, every breath, every movement needs to be with inclusion in your mind. So commit to supporting Black businesses. That was done today. Y'all enjoyed that food, didn't you? So give competent Black-owned businesses the same opportunities afforded to the white counterparts, which means equity across the board, which means when you're looking for, hey, office supplies, we're looking for landscaping, we're looking for something that you are not just going to the same pool of what you've always known, but you are expanding beyond that, and you're seeking, you're being what? And you're being intentional with opportunities within your business. Your buying power means everything. Buying power supports Black businesses. And make sure your buying power is always aimed for inclusion. Build relationships. There should be no one in this room that you don't know. Make that connection. Even as, hi, how are you doing? What is it that you do? Can I take your business card? And then learn and understand. After they need to know and understand the internal structure are different. And what do I mean by the internal structure are differences in Black businesses? Well, a lot of Black businesses, they need that money when the services are rendered. They can't wait 30 to 40 to 60 days until you decide to pay out. Or we understand this process, but they can't wait. Most of them are operating on their own personal cash flow, which is 2 weeks to maybe a month. So understand that if they ask, hey, can I get that check? Understand that they may be under different, no, they are under different circumstances. So invest in Black-owned business. This one always touches me here. If 4 key racial groups for the Black community, wages, education, housing, and investment, were closed 20 years ago, $16 trillion could have been added to the U.S. economy. And if the gaps are closed today, $5 trillion can be added to our economy. Invest in Black businesses. Thank you.
This mic working? That's just for the live stream. Okay. So you'll have that. We need to testing.
Well, we almost want to say, let the church say amen. It's offering time. Oh, come on, put your hands together for that wonderful presentation by T. Johnson. Also, put your hands together for our phenomenal chancellor. Under her tutelage, we've been able to do so much in our community. Thank you, Dr. Sonya Christian, for the work that you continue to do. Some people talk it, some people just partner on paper, but you actually do the work and you get involved in the community, and we love you for that. A couple of people slipped in. I want to acknowledge Pastor Ralph Anthony and Pastor Oscar Anthony are here back there. We also have some of our community mothers. We got a church mother here. Church Mother Jordan here, good to see you. As well as Mama D, grace and peace. Yeah, I thought we were going to sing, but we are Grace to, and Traco's going to introduce her. One of my good friends, she was a driller, amen. But we have been good friends for years. And so when Traco and I thought we were going to get up here and do something, we said we have to call the powerhouse, the person who travels all over the country. And we're just honored to have her here in Bakersfield today. Traco?
Thank you so much. When we did stand up, someone said, I got to see this.
Yeah.
They knew that's not necessarily our gifting.
Yes.
And since this is turning into a church service, we believe in operating in your gifting. So while Michael and I do sing, like in the shower and in our cars and whatnot, we have a Grammy-nominated artist who has sung with Israel. She has sang almost on every continent across the globe, is a powerhouse. And what I want you to do today, what we want to do is something that's a little bit different. She's going to sing Lift Every Voice and Sing, the Black National Anthem. Dr. Christian, I believe, spoke to it when she talked about my family singing the day that our mom passed away, January 1st. There is power in music. There is power in song and in words, because it does speak not just to the laws, but to the ethics and the values and the faith that we hold deep within our hearts as a people and as a community in a God who is faithful. So I want you to listen to the words that Charlotte is going to sing. Normally we all sing it together. Yeah. Let's not do that.
Please, let's not do that.
It's not because we're not all gifted. I'm just saying, let's take this moment to listen to the power. I'm trying to be serious. To the power and the impact of these words. Lift every voice and sing. Let's give them a try.
Thank you for the pressure that you put on me. I'll ask you to stand, please. If you're not going to sing, please stand.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high, high as the listening skies, let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won.
All right, well, I'm definitely not singing, I can tell you. I heard Traco sing. Traco's actually pretty good. He's just being humble. Well, first off, I'd like to thank everybody for coming here today. I feel really good. I really feel that Black History Month love. So I'm just, my spirit is really filled today. And I'm just really happy to see you all here and for us all to be together today. I think it's important as we continue the work of our colleges and of a district as a whole, that we have the community involved in and we have the community actively participating in everything that we do, particularly when it comes to community colleges. A lot of you might know, this is the main entry point for Black students. This is a place where the future of Black people and Black communities really is make or break, you know? So it's important that we are involved. And I think it's also important that we're together and we are enhancing Black culture, because that's a thing where I can tell you when I was growing up, going to school and doing good in school was something that was seen as not acting Black, right? They said going to school was acting what? Exactly. And it's as if doing well in school or having an education is synonymous with white culture. But I think Dr. Parks would have something to say about that. I think Dr. Angela Davis would have something to say about that. Dr. Martin Luther King, someone who got his terminal degree, and instead of taking a comfy job teaching somewhere, he fought for the opportunities for us all to have here today. I got something to say about that. They've been calling me Dr. West all year. And every time they say it, I'm looking around like, there's a doctor with my last name? Who was that? It's me. And I think I still sort of have that imposter syndrome because I barely made it out of high school. And honestly, the only reason I even went to college is because I wanted to play basketball. I thought I had a mean jump shot. It wasn't that good looking back on it, but hey, it's what I was working with. But what I've noticed is that those of us who have gone on to get that terminal degree, it's got to be a motivation that's beyond ourselves and beyond money and beyond a career, because you don't necessarily get more money because you got a doctorate anyway. It has to be a motivation beyond you. I can tell you, for me, it was really my three boys that was my motivation: James, Jordan, and Logan. For me, I thought, as a Black man raising other Black men, well, if I get my doctorate, they've got to at least get a what? A bachelor's degree. Yeah. So that was my motivation.
And my first interaction with Kern Community College District, as was alluded to earlier, was the the educational advisor of African American success. I remember seeing that job posting and thinking, whoa, that's different. I have to do that because I know that I'm going to do it the right way. And I can't risk anybody else doing it but me. And I applied to it and I got it, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. It gave me the opportunity to be unapologetically Black all day long at work. So when I was the Black man speaking on Black issues in meetings, I said, it's my job. And that was awesome, and I loved it. You know, I remember pulling students out of line in the counseling department and almost thinking I was going to get in trouble, right? How can I do this? How can I tailor what I'm doing specifically to Black students? I thought, this job is not going to last. But it has lasted. And, you know, we're just conditioned that way to think that anytime something is focused on Black people in particular, there's going to be some sort of pushback, right? Black Lives Matter. I don't know how you can disagree with that statement, but there's going to be pushback. That's sort of how society is in a lot of ways. But as we've seen, Kern Community College District has been unapologetically pro-Black with their commitments and the things that they have been doing and what's been put in place. And it's not an easy thing to do, particularly in Kern County, right? I didn't grow up here, but I've heard the stories. Kern County goes by another name that starts with a K as well, right? So it's not an easy thing to do. And the thing about it is, anytime you have an organization that's pushing that hard towards something like that, I've worked across the state with a lot of colleges. And the one thing that they have in common with organizations that are pushing hard towards equity is strong leadership. You're not going to do it if the person at the top isn't 100% supportive of that type of work. So with that being said, we've got to give someone like Dr. Christensen her flowers. Because none of this would have been possible if she wasn't absolutely supportive of it, period. And it's the people she surrounds herself with as well that also support that vision, that also support her in everything that she's wanting to do. Recently, I've got a position as a director at Porterville College. So I've had the opportunity to work with Dr. Habib. And Dr. Habib, you may not know this, but before I started, I asked a lot of people about you. And I said, what's Dr. Habib about? What is she like? And the answers were unanimous, that Dr. Habib is an equity champion. She is real. She cares about this type of work. And now I've been able to see it for myself. So I'm really strongly believe that we are going to make an impact over there together. So I'm looking forward to all the things that we can do. And I'm just blessed to be on the team. I'm just blessed to have a spot where I have an opportunity to be a part of this work with you all. I think that with the things that have happened with COVID and all of this, with our students, there's been a lot of barriers. And us as a district and us as colleges have had to really maneuver lately to overcome these barriers and to help our students overcome these barriers. And I think going forward, although we've done things to tailor to help students overcome barriers at our institutions, really the strategy going forward is to start thinking about, why do we have barriers for students to begin with, right? And how can we remove those barriers altogether? So with all that being said, I'm grateful to be here. I appreciate you all coming, and I appreciate you all fulfilling the mission of a community college, because we can't do it without our community.